Growing up, my mom, my dad, and my football coach was like the three people I never wanted to disappoint.
A coach has a different philosophy of getting at you in your brain.
He knew all our personalities. He knew what buttons to push to get you moving.
He's immortalized 2 times. Hall of Fame, you get immortalized. But this game has immortalized him twice.
You'll never see a better game than this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you'll agree.
I see myself as a coach.
Coaches, they don't know how much of an effect that they have on us as players. Oftentimes, a coach can be like family or an extension of your family.
Many coaches saw something in me before I even saw it in myself.
Some coaches come across like, oh yeah, I can see this guy playing the game. Just being able to kind of speak the players' language and relate to them.
He holds here, he's holding. What the hell are you trying to do? Hey, you jerk! I had her walking around me, and I had her coaching me. You ever called one on them?
We had our moments. We had our moments. There could be a seriousness, but he made you feel that he was on your side.
He wants you to perform well, he wants you to play hard, but yet he wants you to have fun doing it. It's what I call a player's coach.
Player's coach.
He was a player's coach. If you were on the opposing team, you want to speak to Coach Madden.
Even in a restaurant, we be eating, and the fan comes up, what are you doing? This guy's a Raider, what the hell's going on here? We all friends. But the day of the game, it's a fight.
Tell everyone to stay on the ground and get up slow.
No one played like the Raiders. Aggressive defense, the long bomb on offense.
Body throws.
They were going to take it to everybody. Offense, defense, special teams, no matter what it was. They were going to be the aggressor. They were going to be the ones attacking. And I love that style of football.
The 3 rules that I had was, be on time, pay attention, and number 3 was play like hell when I tell you to.
He's excited when people get excited about the game of football because there's nobody who loves the game of football more than John Madden.
He was a Bay Area legend. I just always remember being a kid and watching him. He just took such a unique approach to his style.
And basically just took it from the field and put it up in a booth.
Halftime in Oakland. Pat Summerall here with Tom Brookshire, and that big guy next to you looks sort of familiar.
Yeah, he's just a 12-year coach with the Raiders, and now he's, of course, in the booth at CBS and resting, leading a good life. A lot better on a Sunday or a Saturday night, not to have to worry about the blitzes and what have you.
It sure is nice. You don't have to worry about the blitzes. You don't have to worry about the turnovers, and it's a pleasure being up here in the booth today.
He made everyone just fall in love with the game.
He makes a little basketball twist there and pivot, and boom, the ball's there right again between the 8 and the 9. Oh, is he happy?
Everybody loved him and loved the way he commentated because of that, because it felt like he was in the living room with you.
What a way to start a Super Bowl. That's what Cincinnati wants to do.
When Coach Madden was doing the game, you knew it was the biggest game. He always saw me as a real up-and-comer. And he told great stories about players, draw the X's and O's and make the sounds that were so unique to him. The boom.
He'd take off, boom inside, boom outside, right over, jump.
The magic is in the mistakes. And it wasn't that John made mistakes, but he was so different. You didn't quite know where he was going, and it was kind of fun because it was so different.
Go on up here, Coach. Come on. Okay. Get one by the window.
He had his finger on the pulse of the country because he'd been there, and he'd been to a coffee shop, and he'd kind of make those trips, back and forth all of those years.
What do you think about this year's team?
I think it's as good as you can get. I don't think that this team can be beaten. I would take them against anyone, anywhere.
When you hear his voice, he's one of those voices you go, that's John Madden, nobody else.
Quarterback comes over the sideline, boom. They push a button, stuff starts going, blah, 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 blah.
He is, in a word, genuine. That's what he is. What you see is what you get.
The right goes to the left. This guy.
He wasn't just a coach. He loved the sport. He just wasn't a broadcaster. He loved the sport.
That was something that we're talking about. Wasn't a touch. A guy makes a play like that and a run like that. That has to be a TV.
So the last game that John broadcast, he was perfect during that game. He was tremendous. And then in April, he just says, it's time. Leave it to John to go out on top.
John's someone who knows how to popularize football for everyone. He can include everyone in the football experience. And I wanted to work with someone who could teach me. One of the first questions was, what would he think about the idea of us doing skeleton, which is 7-on-7? And he said, no, that's not real football. And we all nodded as it, right, it's not real football. Next. You know, that first session on the train, he just handed me this. He just said, oh, you need a playbook? Here's an Oakland Raiders playbook. It's super thorough. Here's the play, but then here's all the variations of it, depending on what the defense is doing. But he basically said, okay, Tripp, figure it out from here.
Right. Are you ready?
We're ready, John.
All the training, all the hard work, you add in a little sweat, then it all comes down to this.
And it wasn't just that he was coaching the technical elements of the sport, he was a storyteller. He would teach you things that you would just never forget.
You know, it went from just being like a game to an iconic game.
Always as a kid, you wanted a football card. And if you look at the guys now, what do they want to know? What's my rating?
When you get to the NFL, that first thing you look at is, hey, what's my rating on Madden? It's never high as you think it should be.
I used to always say, man, one day I'm gonna be in that game. Being on the cover, it's like a badge of honor beyond just a sport.
That's pretty much how I'm known by the younger generation as, you know, the player on Madden.
It keeps football connected, and I think it'll be that way for a long, long time.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Blame it on his simple twist of fate.
He really loved football and he wanted the game to bring across the things that he loved about the sport. He's become a coach to these millions of people around the world, and this will live on and continue for many years into the future.
They're gonna always hear that voice. They're gonna always have John Madden in their ear forever.
I used to say something before a game. I had no idea what it meant, but I heard it someplace, and it sounded like a pretty good idea. The last thing I'd say was, don't worry about the horse being blind, just load the wagon.